Over the past year, Argentina's economy has undergone tectonic structural changes under President Javier Milei. This follows decades of economic rot beforehand. And one of the most encouraging signs we're seeing out of Argentina now is a 15% drop, an almost 15% drop, 14.8% drop in the level of poverty in Argentina from the first half of 2024 to the second half of 2024. In the first half of 2024, Argentina had a poverty level of 52.9%. In the second half of 2024, Argentina's poverty level dropped to 38.1%. So in less than a year, that poverty rate has come down 14.8%. Now, there are still 11 million people in Argentina living in poverty and 2.5 million people living in extreme poverty. So if you happen to be one of those people living in extreme poverty or in poverty, this is just kind of an academic statistic to you. It really won't make a difference in your life. However, when we look at the economy in aggregate, overall, this is amazing progress. The biggest cause of poverty in Argentina has been inflation, and likewise, the number one priority of the Milei government has been to reduce inflation in Argentina. Last year, the annual rate of inflation in Argentina was 276.2%. Now that's been lowered to 66.9% today, and the prediction is for the rest of 2025, when the full year of 2025 comes in, the inflation rate will be 23.3%. Now those are the annual rates of inflation in Argentina. The monthly inflation rate in January hit its lowest level ever of 2.2% for the month. Or the lowest, I shouldn't say the lowest ever, the lowest in 4.5 years. February was 2.4%, and March is expected to be 2.6%, so slightly higher in these months. But overall, for the annual rate, the prediction is 23.3%, which is much better than what they had in the previous year of 276% and 66.9% over the past year. Now, there's more good news in stabilizing the Argentine peso, and that comes in the form of a $20 billion loan from the IMF. Additionally, China is also going to renew a $5 billion currency swap line with Argentina. All of this plays into the long-term stability of the Argentine peso and Argentina's long-term goal of being able to remove capital controls. The other thing is, this year in 2025, Argentina is expected to have economic growth of 4.5% to 5%. So that's an additional tailwind to help Argentina recover. Now, one very bright spot of Argentina's economy that I wanted to shine some light on is Argentina's nascent oil industry and its main oil company, YPF, as well as the massive oil field called Vaca Muerta. Argentina is producing 830,000 barrels of oil a day, and this is close to the 1998 historic high of crude oil production that they once had. By the end of the year, they expect to increase their crude oil production by 200,000 barrels a day, so that will put Argentina at over 1 million barrels a day by the end of 2025. The other thing is YPF, the largest oil company in Argentina, has a total of $5 billion worth of investments that are going on now. And that also includes $3.3 billion worth of shale investments for this year. So Argentina has had massive increases in its oil investment just in the past year. Additionally, Argentina could have an energy trade surplus of $7.5 billion by the end of the year versus $1.32 billion at the beginning of this year. This will also make Argentina the third largest oil producer in South America. They're already closing in on Colombia, and they will pass Colombia as an oil producer this year. Argentina's had a remarkable year economically, perhaps the most remarkable year in its history. Argentina's government has cut public spending by 30%. They've cut the number of government employees by somewhere between 36,000 and 42,000. They've removed price controls on food, so they now have a functioning market when it comes to food. You no longer have empty grocery stores. You can actually find food you want to buy. They've also removed price controls and rent controls on housing and apartments. So they now have a functioning housing market. They've deregulated the airline industry. They've also removed controls or limits on exports for the country. So overall, Argentina is beginning to have functioning markets, and they are back to economic growth. In the meantime, they've also reduced poverty by almost 15%. They've stabilized the peso, and they are building currency. They're building reserves for the currency of Argentina, and eventually they will remove the currency controls that they have. So there's been a lot of progress, a lot of economic progress in 1 year that has just been absolutely remarkable. Thanks for watching, and if you like content like this, be sure to like and subscribe.